Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our weekly stock market update video. This is where we do analysis on QQQ, S&P 500, as well as the Mag 7s. And we'll be looking at support and resistance levels, as well as the most likely scenario where price will likely head to for later next week. And before we get to the charts and techno analysis, just look at the data real quick. All right, so we're still at extreme greed. So as long as this continue to stay here, it will likely potentially come back a little bit lower. But we don't know where is that yet, so we likely stick with the price action. That's what I always say. As long as uptrend is intact, don't fight the trend. We'll see it coming. And let's see, with the AI sentiment data, it's getting a little bit lower. So this is actually better for the bulls. As a bear, what you want to see is this going to staying in mid to high 40s. Then that may be a sign where too many people is on the same side of the boat. In terms of earnings, we got big tech coming out, Google, Tesla for next week. These two will likely move the market, especially Google. And some semiconductors, right? Intel, TXN. So if earnings continue to come in beating earnings, then market probably won't pull back as much. Probably more so going sideways in terms of if they do keep beating. In terms of economic data, not really that much. Powell speaks on Tuesday, and no real market movers until Thursday for these PMIs and initial jobless claims. All right, let's get into the charts. So for me, longer term charts still grinding up. Higher highs, higher lows. Uptrend is still intact. Everything's, although we are hitting a resistance, right? Let's zoom out to this. Talked about this diagonal line. Like everybody can draw it a little bit differently, right? Tweak it a little bit different, and it could make a drastic difference, right? But overall, the idea is that prior all-time high, hitting our next prior all-time high that we had in 2024, and now we're just approaching it. So is this going to be the next prior all-time high for a little bit before we come down and maybe consolidate sideways into earnings? So this is likely the case. If earnings is good, we'll probably consolidate right on the weekly time frame, even the monthly as well, and likely just kind of, and then for the next move up, right? If earnings aren't as good, right, there's mixed bags everywhere. Maybe something a little bit steeper, and then go potentially. We'll see from there. So, but for now, right, daily uptrend intact. Talked about this every week. Higher highs, higher lows, another higher high, higher lows. Higher high, higher low, higher high, another higher low, higher high. So trends intact. And every time I talked about the bare minimum I want to see from bears, and bears don't do it. So same thing again. Let's keep things simple. Bare minimum for bears, what I want to see on a daily time frame, at least break this EMA 12, right? This teal looking line, which is exponential moving average 12. They can't even break the 12, right? We're not really going anywhere on the downside. So right, even here, right, we have one, and the next day all of it got bought up, right? We didn't even close at the low of the day. So yeah, so really no bears at this given moment. And for me, at least break below one structure, right? Like we had never really gone below any kind of structure, right? Go sideways here, barely a pullback, new highs, right? Did even backtest the prior structure, new highs. So what I want to see from bears, break that EMA 12, and then break below at least a consolidation sideways structure, right? So this is the last structure that we built on the way up. So the bears can crack below at least the first structure, and then when we backtest that structure, have it act as resistance and go lower, then okay, maybe we're starting to see a little bit of bears come out now, and that they're potentially might move from the next leg down. So, but for now, really no signs of that yet. So I want to see big drop. Give me some space on the daily time frame or the 4-hour. So when we do bounce, we can make that lower high, and this structure now acting as resistance, and then lower low. That's what I want to see. I don't want to see like a one puny drop and then everything gets bought up, right? That's just bulls buying their higher lows. All these higher lows are higher highs. That being said, right, be cautious. We are getting to that area zone where it's like things are slowing down a bit and earnings are coming up. So that's going to be the factor. as well as monthly consolidation is due, right? You look at this monthly chart. It's going straight up for 4 months from the lows to the highs, right? No signs we haven't even consolidated yet. So it's going to consolidate at some point, right? It's a guarantee. We just don't know where we're at. Usually you can see this, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months and then consolidate. Let's compare it a little bit, right? 50% before it consolidated. But this was coming out of a bear market, right? This is more normal. 30% after a bull flag, a monthly bull flag follow through. And this is already close to 40%. So we are getting near that level, right? Let's say it goes to this one, right? 47. Let's say it goes to 47, right? Your upside compared to your downside is not, your risk and reward is not as great here anymore. Even if it goes to 47, you have 7% upside. And let's see how many drops. 11%, right? This was a monthly bull flag, so it barely dropped, but it was 11%, which isn't that much. 11%, you'd be looking down at around this 497, 500 mark, which just makes sense. So yeah, so let's see if this ends up being right, and then you had to sit through a couple of months of consolidation around this level as well. It's not like you just straight shoot up 7% and then like lo and behold, right? So you might have to sit through sideways consolidation before it moves up, next leg up. So buying around this area for longer term hold isn't as nice of a risk reward overall. All right, so let's take a look at SPY. So SPY same idea, right? Higher highs and higher lows, and the sector rotations, right? SPY has XLF, financial sector, healthcare sector. You see sometimes tech being a little bit red, and then all the other sectors in SPY, right? This is all the sectors, XLK, XLF, all these sectors getting rotations, right? That's why it's holding up much better. Obviously, it doesn't move as big, right? Tech is the one that's supposed to lead the market. But as long as money continues to rotate between sectors, that means there's no bears. Because what you want to see from as a bear is all sectors being red, so money leaving the market, and you get at least big enough drop where you make enough space for the lower high. Right? Otherwise, you get these tiny candles. How are they going to make a lower high? Right? You get a one green day, bulls already bought everything up. There's no space for a downtrend for lower highs and lower lows. But if they can make enough big enough space, now even on a small bounce, potentially bears can come show up. I wouldn't be surprised if we do back test 600, 602. Back test probably all-time highs. When we do pull back on the monthly and the weekly, yeah. So I wouldn't be surprised if we do back test this structure. But for now, no signs of that yet. Same idea. You see this kind of resistance, some resistance here. I don't trade off of these diagonal trend lines, but it's just for more of a visual guide. Like potentially maybe approaching resistance because there is no resistance at all-time highs, right? It just keeps on going up. But we are getting a little bit of congestion here. So if bears break below this congestion, then this balance is likely going to act as our first resistance. But let's see if bears can do that. No signs of that yet. So earnings is going to be probably key, right? Let's take a look at the Mag 7s to see if they give us more clues how the Qs may potentially weaken or not. So this is what you want to see as a bear, right? On the Qs. Big enough drop. We had like 2-day big drop, and bulls don't V-shape the whole thing in one day. So let's see how big that was. 5%. Yeah, enough space. 5% drop. Right now, it makes a lower high right here. That's the lower high because it doesn't make the new high, and then lower low here. Right, that's the daily downtrend confirmed on Meta. So we haven't seen a daily downtrend confirmed since over here. Right, so that's a clue here that okay, Meta is slightly weakening a little bit. So yeah, one of the Mag 7s are starting to weaken a little bit. First daily downtrend we have seen. And although this support bounce was what? Look at this, bounce off of the prior structure. So now we have one structure above us as resistance, and it's between the prior structure acting as support. So very clear. You can see the last 2 days. was bought up. So now the question is, when we do bounce again, right? Is this the low of this structure going to currently act as resistance? So if we come up close to 717 or 719, and then we make another lower low and lower high, then that's the continuation of the daily downtrend. Then we'll likely come down to test 6681. All right, so we got a little bit of weakness in Meta here, just a tiny bit, no huge red flags, but it's just the first sign that if all of the Max 7s are starting to shape up daily downtrends, right, it's probably going to give us a clue that the Qs are very likely going to start a daily downtrend very soon as well. So, and Tesla. So Tesla, right, we talked about the same thing every week. Big move up, big move down, big move up, big move down, move up, big move down, big move up. It's still tightening, right? I think we'd be talking about this tightening range for, I don't know how many months, but the tightening range is just, it doesn't exceed the prior lows or prior highs, and then it just gets tighter and tighter. So as long as it doesn't break this 357 high, it's continuing to tighten up. So it can come up a little bit higher. Let's say come up to here. My guess is it's probably going to come up to around 336, 340 zone. And then it probably goes a little bit lower, and then we'll just continue to tighten up. And as long as it doesn't break this 290 low, it will bounce and then just continue to tighten up. At some point, it will break, right? The range is going to get smaller and smaller, but we don't have that break yet. So just continue to trade the range. All right, let's look at Amazon. All right, so right, Amazon's still strong. Not like Meta, where it's already daily downtrend. But that being said, Meta was at near all-time highs. Amazon hasn't gone over its all-time high structure. So if this keeps acting as resistance, then we might get some kind of pullback. You can see a little bit of kind of like slowing down here, right? A little bit up your wick, a little bit upper wick, a little bit upper wick here, here, and then we sold off here, but then it bounced for the last 2 days. So you can see around this area is a little bit of resistance here, but no signs of red flags at all. What you want is at least like 2 days of this drop, another one of a drop, so it can give bears a little bit of space for a daily downtrend. But it hasn't even broken its EMA 12 yet, right? You can see bounce, 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 bounce. The EMA 12 is not like a magic EMA. It just, right, if you can't even break the 12, which is a very small number EMA, then you can tell the momentum is still on both sides. So yeah, that being said, no red flags for Amazon. Yeah. At this given moment, it's just slowing down here. So what the red flag would be break below, and now this whole structure is resistance, right? Which also coincides with this structure acting as resistance. If we see that next week, then we'll probably start to shape up potential daily downtrends. And Google here, no red flags either. So this high is getting near this high now, right? So same idea as pretty much as Amazon. Can it break this high? So if these guys all reject from their prior all-time high structures, the Qs is gonna pull back. So we'll have to see how pretty much is Nvidia and Microsoft carrying the market to new all-time highs. So yeah, we'll talk about that in a second. So we do pull back here. We're gonna come down to closer to 179, 180. Right, resistance, now acting as support, right? You can see on Thursday, crystal clear support, bounce right off of it, which is prior resistance, now acting as support. What you want to see, break below 180, then this would just be like a rejection of this all-time high structure. Other than that, bulls are still in full control, like every week. We will see the red flags when it does shape up, and I'll talk about them, but no signs of that yet. And yeah, this is gonna pull back 100% sometime soon. Not like 100% pullback, as in like it's gonna pull back on the monthly chart, the weekly chart, right? So what do we want to see? You want to see, as everyone wants to see as a bull, is when Microsoft pulls back on the weekly, which we're on a weekly time frame right now, or the month and the monthly time frame, right? Monthly just straight up and a big gap. So when it does pull back on the weekly chart, is Amazon and Google gonna get rotation, right? Are they gonna get rotation where they make on the all-time highs now, and they test, right? They test their all-time high structure. If not, if these guys pull back, right, and Amazon, Google pulls back, rejected from all-time high structure, while Microsoft takes a little break, just consolidate healthy, go sideways or something like that, bull flag. Yeah, market pulling back 5%, 5 to 10% isn't out of the table. Pretty reasonable pullback as well. 5 to 10% is very healthy for the market to consolidate. So there's just something to look for as well. So just be cautious of that, because it is gonna. But that being said, I guess we did hit the green line now. So yeah, we heard the green line. We actually touched it, which is I think we drew it when Microsoft was around here, and that was still like 7% away. And I said don't use it yet because we don't have the 3 touch. This is just prior all-time high, right? Prior, did not want that. Prior all-time high to our most recent all-time high over here. That's just 2 points, and see if it ends up being here, right? This could just blow through it for all we know, because it's just 2 touches right now. And what we want to see, at least just break this EMA, right? EMA 12 from the bears, right? And okay, we can say, okay, this is a resistance here now as well. But no signs of a pullback, right? It just slowly grinds higher lows and higher highs. So we want to see big drop, which might come pretty soon. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if it was here, but we don't have that yet. Big drop, give you another day or 2 red, and then now we can potentially hit that lower high. So if we confirm daily downtrend here, then okay, weekly consolidation is likely coming on the weekly and monthly. So be cautious if you're a bull, but don't short blindly if you're a bear either. All right, so Apple, yeah, same idea every week. We just can't get over this 213. So question is, when market does pull back, is Apple going to get its rotation and go higher, or is it going to pull back with it and ping pong between 195 and 213, which has been doing that for like 3 months? So yeah, no real anything to. It is trying to hold this support flag a little bit here, but the market's been making new all-time highs, and this is just sitting under 213. All right, let's take a look at Nvidia. All right, so same idea with Microsoft, right? This guy's gonna pull back pretty soon. It's not like a what. It's more like a when will it pull back, right? It's gonna pull back, like, but when? Like, we're getting to that area that it's gonna be that area, right? Let's say it makes another leg up, or like 5% up, or whatever. Okay, we come up to 184 or something. Then we get a monthly pullback, get a monthly bull flag. Monthly bull flag, which is very strong healthy pullback, is gonna come to 140. Right? If you just think about it, it's gonna be 18% pullback, even if it's a bull flag. Bull flag means it's a very strong. Bulls are still in control, kind of thing. Let's say we kind of grind down a little bit, and then we make a bull flag, right? Before we head to, let's say, 200. So be cautious here. We have a ton of space on the monthly, so even if it's a nice strong bull flag, it will still pull back a lot. So I wouldn't be adding up here to hold for a long term. But if you're a day trader, like I said, doesn't matter. You can trade both ways any day you want. But if you're adding up here as like a long term hold, or like, you're holding for, this is not really a good price. It will pull back sometime a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if we pull back to 145s and this 150 zone, just to back test this prior all-time high structure to see if it will act as support or not. But for now, like I said, no signs of that yet. Bare minimum, break that EMA 12 for bears, and at least make 1 or 2 red days to give us space for lower highs and lower lows for daily downtrends. But for now, no downtrends yet except Meta. So 1 out of 7 so far showing us weakness. Other than Apple, I mean, Apple is still just under 213, still pretty weak. All right, that is got for you guys. If you want to like, share, and subscribe, I will film the commodities update for tomorrow, and make sure to check that out. And if you want to support the channel, go to as a free channel, and then go to the Patreon link and support the channel. As well as if you guys want to book one-on-ones to talk more about sticking points, getting better at your trading, all that kind of stuff, feel free to book that 15-minute free call with me, and we can talk more about it. All right, see you guys tomorrow.